mixed. Stories of swamp justice, where truth and legend mixes.
I just love that song. Hey, everybody, how you doing? It's Crime and Cask coming at you from South Kakalaki. Listening to Swamp Justice Radio. That song, by the way, written by me, is available wherever you download your music. I get mine from Spotify. You get it from Amazon. You can get it from Apple Music. It's on every social media you find. So if you want to tag Swamp Justice Radio, feel free. Let me turn that off. So, hey, listen, we have I'm going to take breaking news off of here because this is not breaking news, but we have a very special edition today because today is Thursday, May 21st, 2026. Let's put that into the record. And today I want to show you something. Hope this comes through. If not, I'm going to show you. Here we have, this is the book, Heartbreak on Sandy Run Road, the investigation into the death of Stephen Smith, an investigative journalist by investigative journalist James Seidel, moi, and Crime and Cask from Crime and Cask Investigations. I'm going to show you this real quick because it is available exclusively on Amazon. And we have it right here. On a dark stretch of rural road in Hampton County, South Carolina, 19-year-old Stephen Smith was found dead in the middle of the pavement. There was no skid marks, there was no debris, and no clear answers. And what began as quickly labeled hit and run by Dr. Aaron Presnell of MUSC, correctly, by the way, and we'll get into that in a little bit, it would unravel into something far more complicated, an investigation filled with contradictions, yes, missed opportunities all over the place, and a silence that lasted nearly a decade. Well, actually, more than a decade, coming up on 11 years. Set against the backdrop of the Murdaugh era, but grounded firmly in documented facts. This is not a story about rumor. I promise you, ladies and gentlemen, this story is not about rumor. It's a story about evidence. I worked alongside with a South Carolina private investigation company called Boone's Investigation Services. And so they were very helpful in this as well. But this is a case that is about a case that stalled, questions that never went away, and about a young man whose story deserves more than speculation. And honestly, there is a lot of speculation out there, and we're going to get into some truths here. And I know he's going to come at me again, but we're going to also talk about the Smith family attorney Eric Bland of South Carolina, from Bland Richter. Apparently they're award winners. But anyway, so we're gonna talk about that because there are some things that Eric Bland said to me, that Sandy Smith said to me when I came out with a groundbreaking article October 15th of 2025. And for out of respect, I called Sandy and told her about the article that was about to drop, and then requested that I call and talk to her attorney, which is Eric Bland. And I'm going to show you on October 15th and you're going to listen to what Sandy Smith said, and you're going to see what Eric Bland said to me. And then we're going to see what his co-host on a podcast said when she found out. She was out doing her Hulu thing when she found out 2 days later on October 17th, and how the story has changed. And now it's really changed. I guess it's Jesse Weber on Newsmax. Eric Bland was there, and we're going to listen to what Eric had to say, and we're going to dissect it based off of the truth, ladies and gentlemen. Not only the truth that came out of Eric's mouth, and the truth that came out of Sandy's mouth, and how that has rapidly changed. Why? Because of one person, in my opinion. And so we'll get into that. And that's basically what we want to do is, Sandy Run Road, Heartbreak on Sandy Run Road. I have been out there, and I was just out there a week or so ago. I can't even begin to tell you how many times I've been out to this location with my measuring tape, driving. Um, I've had the PI out there. I've driven the routes. I've gone from Sandy Run Road over to Prince Williams Road, trying to figure this out. And I believe I have, in my opinion. And I tell you all about it in the new book. And there's new information in here, new information that has not been seen or heard, that I have shared with SLED. They thought it was very valuable information. I uploaded it to their evidence files, and have been working with them since July of 2025. And so new evidence that you have not seen before, new interviews you've not heard before, and second interview, which was groundbreaking, and it has to do with the Murdaughs, and no one's heard that before, and seen, heard, or read. So, Jesse, if you really want the story on Stephen Smith, I suggest you talk to me and not the guy that is trying to cover this up. So let's get into it, shall we? I'm just going to read you quickly the prologue. But before I do that, I want to show you something here. If you can see it, this is a QR code in the book. And I have these QR codes throughout the book. I haven't seen this before in any author's book, so maybe this is new. I could be wrong. But I've got these QR codes. So when I talk about, the interview with Sandy Smith, and I write about it in the book, you now have a QR code. When you're reading the book, just take your phone and click it, and you can listen to the whole interview. We're going to listen to a snippet of it, but I'm just going to read you a little bit about that in the prologue. Or you know what? I'm going to read from you chapter 1. I'm just going to read from you the first paragraph. And it's fairly interesting. I have come a long way from my first book, defending Alec Murdaugh, Not Guilty by Reasonable Doubt, which at the time was a bestseller in its group on Amazon. And then I wrote the book for Myra Crosby, Because Enough is Enough, how Juror 785 in the Alex Murdaugh trial was wrongly removed. There's a J6er named Josh Pruitt, was my third book. That book is called Trumped Up. That is also available on Amazon through his story, his story as being a J6er and being imprisoned and pardoned by President Donald Trump. And now my fourth book, can't believe I'm saying this, my fourth book, Heartbreak on Sandy Run Road, the investigation into Stephen Smith. Let's go into chapter 1, page 9, from my friend Elaine Greenberg. It's paginated, Elaine. My first book, it's paginated now, but I didn't even have it paginated. Here we go. Chapter 1, Before the Road. The radio was low, just a wash of voices and weather and a preacher's ad, until the word body cut through the static like a nail. Sandy Smith had one hand on the steering wheel and the other hand on her coffee cup, the lid warm against her palm. The sky over Hampton County was a color of dishwater, the kind of gray that made everything look flatter than it actually was. Pine trees stood like dark witnesses on either side of the road, and the air conditioning hummed with that tired late summer laziness. She was thinking about nothing in particular, about her shift, about her bills, about whether she'd remember to lock the back door, when the announcer's voice sharpened. Found this morning on the road, Sandy Run Road. Sandy stared at the windshield as if the words might appear there. She felt her throat tightened, not because she knew something or knew anything. She didn't. But because mothers carry a private radar for disaster, they do. A vibration in the bones, a sudden coldness that didn't match the temperature. Her phone was quiet in the cup holder. No new text, no missed calls. That's the first page of chapter one of chapter one. There are, I think, 250 pages in this book, and I really go into the road that didn't fit. Chapter two, well, what the body knew. I talk about the autopsy that Dr. Aaron Presnell did the days after, the noise that took over, and I mean noise. Then the silence. Then I get into the boat crash, because I think that needs to be talked about, because it really morphs into this whole Murdaugh thing. The reopening of Stephen Smith's case, I talk about that. What remains, I get into a little bit about Stephen himself. Then we start getting into the meat of everything. And now we start talking about the Patrick Wilson interview. I interviewed Patrick Wilson. He, according to Fitz News, along with Sean Conley, has been named as a person of interest in the death of Stephen Smith. I interviewed him. I'm the only one that has interviewed him. I recorded it. Nobody else on planet Earth has interviewed Patrick Wilson except for me. Then I talk about Conley and Wilson and renewed scrutiny in 2023. We talk about Stephen's car. There is more new evidence that I have come up with about Stephen's car. Why? You had the gas cap out, it didn't start, all these things. All those questions are answered. Then we start connecting dots in chapter 14. Then it gets groundbreaking in chapter 15. An eyewitness finally comes forward after 10 years. And I mean an eyewitness. I'm not talking about somebody's here saying this and that. I am talking about an eyewitness there the night, July 8th, 2015, there. Heard words out of people's mouths. You'd have to read it. It's groundbreaking. I shared it with SLED. They were amazed. My attorney was amazed. Eric Bland was amazed. Sandy Smith was amazed. You're going to hear what Sandy has to say about all this, by the way. The fallout of investigative reporting. Chapter 17, Sandy Smith. 18, the system on trial and trying it all together. And then the epilogue and Stephen. So it's the summer read of 2026. It's out now. Heartbreak on Sandy Run Road. Check it out. But we're going to start getting into the weeds a little bit, and we're going to find out fact from fiction. And I really want you all to pay attention to this, because Eric Bland has been going on a tirade since December about me. And honestly, I don't know why. All I have done is exactly what they have been begging for years. Anybody come forward, any help, please, 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 please. We want to know what happened to Stephen Smith. Oh, okay. Let me come forward and tell you what happened to Stephen Smith, based off of not what I think at all, based off of facts, evidence, interviews that no one has seen besides myself and SLED and my attorney. And now you get to see it. I told Eric Bland about it. I told Sandy Smith about it. And apparently they don't want to know, at least for me, what is going on with what went on with Stephen Smith. But I'm going to get into this interview with Jesse and Eric, and we're going to cut and get through this because it is quite unbelievable. So let's get into that. We'll be right back. So I'm going to let Eric talk, and I may cut in every now and then. Let's get into it. All right, let's get into it.
So we were really encouraged. We then did an exhumation of his body and had a second autopsy done, which indicated that he died from a blunt instrument.
By the way, Dr. Aaron Presnell over at MUSC, it's South Carolina's largest hospital system. She said that 10 years ago. Just putting that out there.
Probably from a moving vehicle.
Dr. Aaron Presnell said that 10 years ago. I don't know why it took a second autopsy, but here we go.
So we really thought that there was traction. We thought that with Alex's conviction, that the cone of silence in Hampton County would end and that people would come forward, because there are 5 or 6 people that SLED told us that have knowledge as to what happened to Stephen.
6 or 7 or now 8.
Grand jury was impaneled, but didn't return any type of indictment.
By the way, the grand jury was impaneled, and in this book, Heartbreak on Sandy Run Road, the interview with Patrick Wilson, he was in that grand jury, and you're going to hear, you're going to read, and if the audiobook comes out, you're going to hear, but you're going to read what Patrick Wilson said about that grand jury and who examined him for what he said was an extremely long time. So I'm well aware of what happened in that grand jury. In fact, I know more about what happened into that grand jury than Eric Bland does.
We believe there's 5 or 6 people that have knowledge as to what happened to Stephen on July 7th of 2015, but they won't come forward.
July 8th. Okay.
Just to clarify, Dr. Kinsey's evaluation of this, believing it's a hit and run.
Okay, now all of a sudden, Eric has tried to defame and attack me online. That didn't work. He sent his podcasters after me to attack and defame me. That didn't work. Someone told me that he sent me a cease and desist. I never got any cease and desist. That didn't work. And so what does he do now? He knows the date was May 15th, now the 21st. What is he doing now? He's going out in Jesse, and now he's promoting Dr. Kenny Kinsey. Ooh, the good doctor is going to come forward, and he's going to solve this thing. It's already done, Eric. It's already done, and you know it. Why you're bringing Kenny Kinsey in this thing, I don't know. What I can say is I've emailed Kenny Kinsey before on Murdaugh-related items, and he has gotten back to me. We exchanged several different emails. When I found out that Eric Bland was bringing on Dr. Kenny Kinsey, I emailed Kenny again and said, hey, congratulations. I'd love to supply you with all my information. I have in-depth, investigation, but I've got in-depth interviews that I've done. I'd love to share it with you. Let's solve this thing together. Have I heard from Dr. Kenny Kinsey? No.
So how does that affect the investigation? How does that affect where you are in this and how we should be thinking about it?
Well, he's our expert witness, and
okay.
That is one of the causes of death that he has reached.
One of the causes of death? Is there more? He just said that he was hit by a moving vehicle.
Connection with the pathologist that did the testing of the second autopsy in Florida, but they're not hired by the state. It's the state that must bring these criminal charges. And so SLED, they may have their own theories.
Is he reading?
I'm disappointed in SLED, Jesse, to be honest, because we had a good dialogue for about the first year and a half after the murder convictions, but they've gone silent on us. And
they may have gone silent on you, Mr. Bland. They have not gone silent on me because I've been working with them. I have been giving them quality evidence. Just so we're clear.
I believe, based on the rumors that are out there, that there is 1 or 2 people that really were present when it happened.
2.
But 5 or 6 that know of relevant information.
Is it 5 or 6, 6 or 7, 7 or 8?
And it's inconceivable to me that in this modern day age of investigations and scientific evidence, how SLED cannot solve this crime.
1 second.
Well, it is for me too.
The next, they're a neighbor you trust.
It is for me too, how they can't seem to solve this particular crime. Let me. All right, so we're going to keep going. So now you've heard Eric, and he's regurgitating the same stuff. So let's go back a little bit in history and see what they've been saying about how they want help in the Stephen Smith case. Here is let me just get this up a little higher. This is a post from last summer, I believe. And if I can get to it, there it is. We know, in all caps, people are out there who know more than they've told the police. Yes, that's true. My interview person didn't even talk to the police. They talked to me first. We want them to know that we will never stop until we get answers for Sweet Sandy. Okay. Well, I've gotten answers for Sweet Sandy, and I'm not sure what's going on here. Stay pesky, and yes, my Christmas lights are lit up. So this is a billboard that they spent money on promoting a $50,000 reward for the arrest of individuals responsible for the death of Stephen Smith. That's interesting. So we got a $50,000 reward. Okay, so now we're going to go into when I talked to Sandy Smith. And we're going to just cover a little bit of this interview with Sandy, and want everybody to hear what Sandy had said. And we're going to go to that right now. Yes. I will copy and paste this and send it to your Gmail right now. Is there any questions you have for me that I can talk to you about?
No, what you said is very interesting.
Yeah.
You told me more than any sled agent.
Right. You've told me more than any sled agent. I mean, as much time and effort in writing and investigating and talking that I've done on this case, and October 15th, to hear that out of the mother's mouth, Sandy Smith, about her son, it was, it made it all right a little bit, all the time and effort. You know, there's a timeline I put in here. It doesn't, you probably know more about this than me, you know, with the July 8th and the sled declining the case, and the murders of Paul and Maggie, and then they reopen the case, and then they could confirm it as a homicide. So all this stuff is you're pretty well aware of.
Yeah.
But this is new information that this person has never spoken to anyone about for 10 years until now. But I don't know if I read this to you. Did I read about? Hold on. One more thing I think you need to know. Cancer brain. It was why they came out. Let me see. Anyway, so that is Sandy Smith telling me in an interview, you've told me more than any sled agent. How about that? And now, what did Eric Bland say to me on October 15th, 2025? There was a bit of an email exchange, but I want to show you the one that really matters. And that is this one, my friends. This is Eric Bland. And he said, sent, thank you for your time. I have the total email exchange right here. We can go into it if you really want to. But that was on October 15th. And I told him, my pleasure. I pray that this leads to arrest convictions. I also pray it gives Sandy a little relief. Thanks, Jim. He gave me his email address. I sent it to him. Anyway, so congratulations, sent, or thank you, and thank you for your time. This is Eric Bland. Interesting. All right. So now we have Eric Bland thanking me on October 15th. We have Sandy Smith thanking me and telling me I've done more for her and told her more than any SLED agent. And at this time, October 15th, I think the Murdaugh Hulu series had just dropped on Hulu. And I think Eric's co-host was outperforming that particular fiction. And she hadn't found out about this yet. She hadn't found out about Sandy. She hadn't found out about Eric. And then she found out. And boy, was she not happy. Well, let's take a look. Remember, we want to know. We want to know. $50,000. Here's a billboard. We want to know. Eric Bland, just the other day on Jesse Weaver. We want to know. Okay. Well, I wrote an in-depth article based off of an explosive interview of an eyewitness there that night on October 8th, 2015, not October 7th, or excuse me, on July 8th, 2015, not October 7th. Why do I keep saying October? Okay, I'm mixing the two. Let's just get into this. This is what Mandy's saying. Good morning, beautiful people. Just a warning, if you tag me in misinformation about Stephen Smith, you will be blocked immediately. The man behind this cruel lie is a convicted fraudster. I don't know what that means. So now I'm a fraudster. What in the hell? That is 2 days later. On October 15th, I'm getting accolades from Eric and Sandy. Mandy finds out, and all of a sudden, I'm a fraudster. Cruel lie. Cruel lie. Cruel lie. Yeah. That's defamatory, isn't it? I'm pretty sure. So where do we go from here? I'll tell you where we go from here. Let's go back 2 days in October, back to the 15th. Actually, no, this was the 17th, I believe. Let me look at this. Yeah, it was the 17th. After Manny had come out and called me a cruel liar. We're going to show you what I offered them for more proof. Proof. I'll tell you, proof. Here it is. Mr. Bland, I'd like to offer you and Mrs. Smith the opportunity to listen to the 1.5-hour interview that my in-depth article is based upon. It's the least I can do, given that Miss Mandy is actively attempting to discredit or suppress this evidence. I can come wherever is most convenient for you and present it directly. Let me know, blah, blah, blah. Sincerely, Cask. So you tell me, did I do the right things? I posted that article in October. I found out about that article in that interview early in 2025. In July of 2025, I met with SLED and gave them all of this evidence because I believed that they needed it. I could have just ran out with it, but I didn't. I did the right thing. I didn't monetize it. I did the right thing. I did the right thing. And continued to work with SLED on this thing. Why they don't want this information, I don't know. It literally solves the Stephen Smith case, according to this eyewitness. And I have another, which they don't even know about, which is in this book. There is another interview that I did with another credible person that I also shared with SLED, and that is a secondary witness that has corroborating evidence that backs up what the original interview that I had in early 2025 says about what happened. And all I'm going to tell you and give you a little snippet about the book is hog hunting. I want you to remember that. Hog hunting. It's an interesting take on what happened to Stephen Smith. Hog hunting. There are crime scene photos that you've never seen before. There are pictures, mug shots, more QR codes. There's the billboard. There's text messages I have in here that no one has seen before. Text messages between a lot of different people, including podcasters, that are in here that have never been seen before. This book is full of never been seen before information. And so I really want you guys to, if you're interested, and if you're interested in the truth and what happened to Stephen Smith, according to many people that have come forward after 10 years and come forward to not anybody else. Patrick Wilson didn't go to Eric Bland. He didn't go to any other podcast. He came to me, Crime and Cask. The investigative interview that I did that was an hour and a half long, that person came to me, not anybody else. The other person who's a valuable source that corroborated everything, they came to me, not anybody else. Myra Crosby came to me, not anybody else. Josh Pruitt, a J6er, who I didn't even know, came to me and nobody else. Because I'm out here printing the truth. I'm trying to get to the truth no matter what it is. Do I have some things wrong sometimes? I may. And if I'm presented with that information, I'll go and investigate it. And if it is true that I may have a word or hear things wrong, I'll go ahead and correct it, just like any good journalist does. There's not a journalist on this planet that has never gotten anything wrong. So to try to criticize me for, oh, you got something wrong. Ooh, okay. Well, I'm human. I get things wrong. But that's just kind of how journalism works. Everybody wants something out quick. This book, I did not do quick. This book, we worked on this. By the way, you like that? A little beard right there, little glasses on. Right. So there it is. Heartbreak on Sandy Run Road. It's available on Amazon. I'm going to try to get the audio out fairly quickly, so it'll be available on Kindle, on audio, paperback, and hard cover. It's also available if you want. Go over to Crime and Cask or the CC News Network .com, and you can find a tremendous amount of articles about Stephen Smith there. You can also sign up to get an autographed copy of the book, and I will autograph those for whatever you want me to say in there, and send them off to you. We're going to be doing a speaking tour on this as well, so I'll keep you all involved in that. I think Boone's is going to head that up, but the unraveling has happened, and Eric can sit there and try to say that nothing's going on, pretend nothing's going on. You've seen the truth, and the truth is he knows what's going on. He's just avoiding it. Sled Sled thinks it's credible. Apparently Eric's smarter than Sled. I don't know. Apparently they're all smarter than Sled. Why Sled hasn't made an arrest yet? That's a great question. I don't know the answer to that. They haven't responded to me when I asked that question. It's law enforcement. They do their thing. I can only provide what I provided to them on a silver platter, and that's it. So Crime and Cask coming at you. We'll leave with a little road is also on there. There's a QR code for that if you want to listen to that. That is also in the book. That's free to listen to on Spotify or Amazon or Apple, wherever you get your downloaded music. But you're going to hear the who, what, where, why, and how of Stephen Smith. What happened that night on July 8th, 2015, in the wee hours of the morning. What happened then, before, and after his car, everything. You want to know about it? This is the 2026 summer read. Get it at Amazon right now. I'm sure you got free shipping. It'll be there in 2 days. All right, everybody, any questions, leave them at the bottom. I'll try to get back to you, and I'll leave a link on how to buy the book in the comment section. Love you guys. I appreciate you very much. Anybody wants to do an interview, just message me on here or anywhere else. Check me out, Carmen Cask. I am basically everywhere, hundreds of thousands of followers. I appreciate every single one of you. Millions of views and likes, comments. It's absolutely crazy where this is going. Murdaugh Part 2 is coming. I've already started on my 5th book, which is the Alec Murdaugh Part 2. I don't even know the name of it yet, but that's coming. And we're going to expose more of the rigged trial, more of the created narrative to get him found guilty, who the parties were, who did it, why, all that, who, what, where, why, and how. As you know, this is why they all hate me, because I'm exposing all their crap. But anyways, that's what I do. Grab a gas. We'll see you later.